have many thoughts about the metaverse, of course, but I think how we see it in today's world is going to be very different than how we see it in like 5 to 10 years. I don't think it'll become a thing where you plug in and your whole life is in like this online virtual reality thing. One, I just don't think the technology has the capability, or I don't think the technology has the accessibility, and I don't think in the next 5 to 10 years that accessibility has become easier for that. So I think it's going to begin like treated kind of like a PS5, like a video game console, where it's going to be more like gaming and more entertainment based than like actually becoming essential to everyday life. I think that kind of like similarly the concept of Web3, and that using blockchain to show like internet history, and like instead of like having companies like big internet companies like Facebook and Google control most of the media, that the consumer will continue to kind of reclaim that narrative, and more of the power will shift towards the consumer and the user than these average companies. I think that's a trend that we're seeing across the market, not just necessarily in this type of metaverse aspect. I have personally experienced virtual reality, but I haven't necessarily experienced the metaverse per se. I know Roblox is involved with that, but I've kind of just like, there's like an exhibit in New York City that had like a bunch of virtual reality games, and that's what I experienced. And so I do think the biggest challenge that the metaverse will have is being able to get that technology accessible to everyone, because it's expensive, and I just don't see it becoming less expensive anytime soon. I think that in the workplace, there'll definitely be use cases for it, but I mean, Microsoft has problems with Microsoft Teams. They're not gonna like be able to create a whole metaverse for work. So I just think between like the technological issues and the accessibility, that it's not going to become widespread. It's going to be like very specific use cases, and again, kind of like a video game console or like a computer. It's like something you use and then put away. Your whole life isn't going to be consumed by it. I also think that Gen Z is very futuristic, when it comes to like more expensive products, people still want to feel and touch and have physical things. So like having something in the metaverse, like I think Steph Curry's pair of shoes, like that's awesome, that's cool, but like if your friends aren't on the metaverse, or like it's not connected to everything, like that's going to become old really quickly, because you have something, it's not physical, you can't hold it, you can't touch it. And a big thing about luxuries, and we're seeing this with makeup, is brick and mortar is still huge. Like people still want to go in and experience the products and be able to try them and feel them and hold them, and the metaverse doesn't provide that. I also think NFTs are going to die, but that's a whole nother topic. But I think that more of the metaverse more represents like the consumer and the user claiming back what the technology companies have taken from them, versus like actually becoming a legitimate way of life. Hope this helped, Logan.